Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day, Wednesday, February the 7th, race number 5 at Tampa Bay Downs. We'll kick off a 50-cent pick 5 with this $16,000 claimer going 2 turns on the turf. Let's take a look at this field. We're going a mile for fillies and mares, and it is an overflow field. 1 through 10 in the body of the race, 11 and 12, main track only, and the rest are on the also eligible list. Cloud Storage is 5-2 for Antonio Gallardo, and this horse is just very, very consistent. A good-looking winner, 2 starts back, going a mile and an eighth. More of an even performance last time out, but just from a trip standpoint, a pace standpoint, a class standpoint, he fits.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I mean, I do feel like she's 5-2 on the line. She'll probably be favored in here. I do think she's the horse to beat in this race, Dan. Her overall form is good. The distance is good for her. I think her running style is really good for this race, though.
Curious as to your opinion on the pace of this race. Timeform US thinks we could have a barbecue. We got a lot of horses clustered up front. There's a fast pace, Slime Queen from the inside, the number 1, expected to show early speed. Delray Dolly, Sing Scat, the 9. I could certainly see a horse like Delray Dolly, even though she's moving back to the turf. She's stretching out in distance with sprint speed. Sing Scat, yeah, some speed, but I'm not sure they're going to be blazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the fast pace either. We'll see. It's possible, that's for sure. There are plenty of horses who had the speed to come out of there running and try to make the lead if they want to. But is your point's well taken, especially about a horse like Sing Scat, Dan. She's got speed, but they're happy to track off of other horses if they have to.
If the pace projector is correct and the pace is fast, keep it on the 6, Full Moon. That horse has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. We'll start things off with Slime Queen moving back to turf. She finished 3rd in her most recent grass start. 2 starts back going a mile. She got wired by a very sharp horse, a horse that would come back to win with an 80 buyer. That horse has now won 4 in a row and 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, just can't really get into this race, Dan. She's trying really hard to the stretch. She's flashing her tail with the whip as she does in all of her races, but she can't make an impression, and she'll just save 3rd in this race. This isn't my favorite performance of hers. I actually felt like she ran a lot better off the layoff 3 starts back, where she was gaining ground on a front-running winner that day. I think there's a good trip coming from her here, Dan. I'll wait and see what kind of price she is.
No, I agree. I think the trip is there for her breaking from the inside with her sort of tactical speed. Cloud Storage, we talked about the nice victory 2 starts back. She got wired by an odds-on favorite last time out, and I thought all in all she ran just fine. The runner-up came back to win with a 72 buyer in a quarter, non-winner of 3 life. Cloud Storage, another horse that can work out a trip.
I thought she ran okay last time behind that, odds-on front-running winner who was taking her 4th straight there. The horse was in raging form. This horse I thought ran okay in that race. Just really couldn't get involved in the late stages. 2 back, it was a longer race, but I just liked everything about that performance from her, Dan. The pace was solid. She kept it in range. She came for it around the final turn there and into the stretch, and I just liked the way she finished it off. I don't mind her going this, slightly shorter distance in here. If this pace is fast, it only helps her. I think she's the horse to beat.
Leah Rowe, the number 3, did some good things at Tampa Bay Downs in 2023, and maybe she just needed her most recent start. She didn't pick up her feet in a similar race, but it was her first race off a slight 2.5-month layoff. She's shown a lot more early interest in the past than she did most recently. Is it concerning that she was kind of dull from start to finish?
Yeah, I'm very concerned about her most recent start because she just didn't really do anything in there. So we'll see if she can bounce back. She does have better races to get to. That was for 16. Her prior start for 16 off the claim was a victory. So we know this is probably the right level for her, Dan. Boy, was she bad last time.
Zazu is a horse that's had success at Tampa Bay, but there are a lot of minor awards on her page, lots of 2nds and 3rds, and it could be contributed to a running style because she doesn't really have that sort of tactical speed. She's more of a one-run closer. Maybe she'll get a good pace setup this time around. She's been facing some solid competition leading up to this race.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I really feel like since they claimed her for this tag last summer, I mean, just all of her starts since then have been against tougher horses than this. So I like them coming back down to this level with this mare. Your point's well taken. Her running style tends to work against her. She wants that pace projector to be correct. If that pace projector is correct or even close to it, it gives her a real chance in here. She's going to be a good price.
Another mare with good tactical speed is the 5 High Vibes, who utilized a nice mid-pack running style to win over course and distance 2 starts back. Now, maybe the competition a little bit too much. Maybe she didn't care for the wet turf course in her most recent start, but she sort of backed off that 78 buyer. If she runs back to that 78 buyer from 2 starts back, she is a prime contender to be sure.
She ran great in that win 2 starts back. She got a really good trip in that race, but she ran great. She always looked like she was going to win, and she went right by those horses in the stretch. I liked that race from her, Dan, but I think she's the toughest call in the race right now because that race makes her tough. Her last race does not. The race prior to that, off the layoff, does not. She was terrible in that race too. I don't know where she is from a form perspective. Her good race gives her a real chance again.
The Fall Moon has won at least one race at Tampa Bay Downs each of the past 3 seasons. She made her seasonal debut last time out, going a mile. She got beat by High Vibes, and she just didn't break very well. She was a little bit dull towards the back of the pack. It looked like she was starting to pick up some steam on the second turn, got to the outside, and never threatened. It's really all about pace for her. If the pace projector is right, I think this is the closer you might want to watch out for at a price.
Yeah, that's true. She should be a very fair price in this race. The race could set up a little bit better for her this time. And maybe she just needed that most recent start because she didn't do a ton of running there. I'm, just concerned that she has that running style that I don't like these horses to have, and she just doesn't win that often, Dan. She's 4 for 42.
Kiki Love is the number 7. This one's going to try turf for the first time. She's by the Big Beast. Only 7% winners from Turf Ratters. The dam went 0 for 1 on the turf. The second dam did win on the grass. Not enough turf pedigree to get me excited, especially stretching out in distance.
Yeah, I didn't like any of those things either. I mean, if I'm going to take a horse like this, and she'll be a fair price. So if you didn't find something that you liked about her, go ahead and take a shot with her. But I want to see at least a little pedigree on the surface, which if I'm going to bet a horse like this, and I didn't see it.
Delray Dolly is going to switch back to the turf for the first time since her career debut way back in the summer of 2021. She didn't do any running that day, but she also wasn't racing without Lasix and blinkers, which has been a staple for her. She's been a prolific winner on the main track, an 8-time winner. She's going to show speed, stretching out. She still has to answer the surface question.
Yeah, surface, and I think a little bit of class too. I mean, she seems a little cheap maybe for horses like this, even with the surface switch. And listen, you don't have to, go all in against her just off the one turf start in her debut, but she did no running that day and basically improved immediately when they switched her to dirt.
Sing Scat reeled off 4 consecutive wins in 2023, really looking like she was picking up her game with each and every start, looking to get back to that sort of form here, moving dirt to turf for Jamie Ness. Maybe she was a little too close to the pace, and maybe that mile and an eighth a little too far for her 2 starts back, Mike, when she tired behind Cloud Storage. But as we saw in the pace projector, she can sit just off the leaders, and of the horses in the first flight or so, she might have the most turf and class.
Yeah, she might. I could definitely use this horse, Dan. I don't care about the dirt race last time. 2 back, it did seem like the 9 furlongs worked against her. She also went early to take that race over, had a clear lead, and Cloud Storage just ran her over in the stretch. But that trip wasn't ideal. And even 3 starts back, I thought she ran really well in that race. Took the race to the leader around the turn as High Vibes just sat it out. And then she couldn't hold off High Vibes at the end of that race. But I thought she ran well that day.
Completing the body of the field is the 10. Funny enough, we last saw her at Colonial Downs over the summer. She was listed as a vet scratch on January the 10th. It's taken her almost a month to get back into the entry. She had a perfect trip, I thought, when she won 3 starts back, maybe in too tough against First Level Allowance Company in her 2 subsequent starts. But this is a tough post coming off of a layoff, Mike. I think I want to watch.
Yeah, me too. Although at the right price, you could maybe throw her in, Dan, because she has the last 2 starts, I just think, in way over her head. You can use Formulator to get the charts of those races and take apart the field she was in against way better than the field that she's facing here. A 16-3 life, a 16-2 life. The last time she was in for this price, she won them both.
11 and 12 are in her main track only. Of the 2 horses listed for turf on the also eligible list, I guess the 14 Panati, I would have more very slight interest than Nico Lar. I've seen Nico Lar at Laurel. I've kind of had enough of her act. Panati at least was at Gulfstream last time out on the wrong service, although I didn't care for the race 2 back.
Yeah, I don't like her recent form, but she's got races here at Tampa at this level from last year that would make her pretty tough in this race.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top selection time for our Wednesday race of the day. Mike, you're going with Cloud Storage. Just probably going to work out a good trip, and is a horse that's just very consistent.
Yeah, that I just appreciate that she's very consistent. I think there's a good trip coming for her. I like her last, 2 or 3 turf races as well. I just thought it was a good spot for her, Dan.
I'm hoping the Timeform US's pace projector is right. I think Fall Moon, if you give her some pace, can come with a kick. Her last race was somewhat disappointing, but she's had a good overall mark at Tampa Bay Downs, and the price is just going to be right. I think the pace will be right for her as well. 2459 for Mike, 6125 for me. It's the Wednesday race of the day, first leg of a 50-cent pick 5 at Tampa Bay. Good luck.